So I got back to the plant the next day. That was a Friday. I told my boss, who had been on stage himself, and he said, "You're fired."
Lee Van Cleef was a famous actor known for his roles in Western movies. Despite his tough image on screen, his life was full of problems. He struggled with drinking, which hurt his career and personal life. Even though he became famous later in life, his issues didn't go away. His health got worse, and he died too soon. What really happened to Lee Van Cleef? Join us as we explore the sad story behind this Hollywood legend. Early life. Clarence Leroy Van Cleef Jr., known widely as Lee Van Cleef, was born on January 9, 1925, in Somerville, New Jersey. His parents, Clarence Sr. and Marion, were of Dutch descent. Growing up as the youngest of three in a small town, Lee had a simple, modest childhood. The Great Depression had a big impact on his family and their community, teaching him resilience and resourcefulness early on. Lee's childhood was marked by his independence and interest in mechanics. Known for his sharp features, which later became his trademark in Hollywood, he attended local schools and showed a knack for practical skills. He loved tinkering with gadgets and machines, a hobby he pursued with passion. Lee graduated from Somerville High School in 1943. During his high school years, he was involved in various activities, though specific details about his participation in sports or clubs are scarce. He was well liked by both peers and teachers. His academic performance was good, but he preferred hands-on learning over academics. This practical approach helped him in his future military and acting careers. With World War II ongoing, Lee joined the United States Navy after graduating high school. He served on a submarine chaser in the Pacific Theater. His role combined engineering and administrative duties, utilizing his mechanical skills. These experiences shaped Lee's character, teaching him discipline, teamwork, and perseverance. After the war, Lee returned to civilian life and explored various jobs, including accounting, mechanics, and painting. These jobs were more about survival than passion. Despite being skilled in these roles, he felt restless and unfulfilled. In the late 1940s, Lee joined the Little Theater Group in Clinton, New Jersey. Encouraged by friends and driven by curiosity, he tried acting. His rugged looks and strong presence made him stand out. He became fascinated with acting, finding it a creative and emotional outlet. During this time, Lee met Patsy Ruth Cayley. They married in 1943 and had 3 children, Alan, Deborah, and David. Their early years of marriage were challenging as they adjusted to post-war life and Lee's search for a stable career. Patsy supported his interest in acting, encouraging him as he pursued this uncertain path. By 1950, Lee had built a modest reputation in local theater. His performances were noted for their intensity, and his distinctive appearance left a lasting impression on audiences and directors. This period was crucial for developing his skills and confidence, setting the stage for his future success in Hollywood. True calling in showbiz. After serving in World War II and trying out different jobs, Lee Van Cleef finally discovered his passion for acting. His breakthrough came with his role in the Western classic High Noon, which premiered in July 1952. In this movie, Lee portrayed Jack Colby, a member of a gang opposing Gary Cooper's character. Even though his role was minor and he had no lines, his unique looks and cold demeanor made him memorable. This debut set the stage for his future typecasting as a villain in Hollywood, a role he embraced and perfected over time. Following High Noon, Lee's career quickly gained traction. In 1953, he appeared in several films, including The Lawless Breed, directed by Raoul Walsh and starring Rock Hudson. In this Western, Lee played Dirk Hanley, further establishing himself in the genre. He continued this trend with The Nebraskan, where he played Ace, another minor yet significant role. Expanding into science fiction, Lee took a minor role in The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. This small part showed his versatility beyond westerns and added to his growing filmography. Each role, no matter how minor, increased his experience and visibility in Hollywood. In 1954, Lee's portrayal of Fire Knife in The Yellow Tomahawk and Paul Clayton in The Desperado solidified his reputation as a compelling antagonist. His ability to bring intensity and authenticity to villainous characters made him a sought-after actor for such roles. By 1955, Lee's career included more notable films and television appearances. He played Al Drucker in 10 Wanted Men and Pecos Larry in The Road to Denver. He also began appearing on television shows like Gunsmoke, The Adventures of Kit Carson, and The Lone Ranger. These roles often mirrored his film persona, reinforcing his image as a tough, menacing character. In 1956, Lee appeared in The Conqueror, a historical epic starring John Wayne. He played Chepe in a film that later became infamous for its critical failure and health controversies. The filming location, downwind of nuclear test sites, likely exposed the cast and crew to radioactive fallout. Many involved, including Lee, later faced serious health issues, leading to widespread speculation about the link between the film and these health problems. Lee's career remained steady in 1957. He appeared as Ed McGaffey in The Tin Star, starring Henry Fonda and Anthony Perkins, and as King Fisher in The Lonely Man. His presence on television grew, with roles in popular series like Have Gun, Will Travel, Tales of Wells Fargo, and Wagon Train. These appearances kept him in the public eye and demonstrated his consistent ability to portray menacing characters. In 1958, Lee's role in The Bravados as Alfonso Parral continued his streak in westerns. He also played a minor antagonist in The Badlanders, further showcasing his niche in Hollywood. During these formative years, Lee's personal life remained relatively low profile. He was married to Patsy Ruth Cale, and they raised their 3 children together. Despite the demands of his acting career, Lee managed to avoid major controversies or scandals, maintaining a stable family life. His focus was primarily on building his career, and he succeeded in keeping his personal affairs out of the public eye. Lee Van Cleef became known for his intense gaze, sharp features, and ability to portray ruthless villains. His acting style was understated yet powerful, relying heavily on his physical presence and expressive eyes. Directors and producers valued his reliability and the authenticity he brought to his roles, making him a frequent choice for westerns and crime dramas. His performances, even in minor roles, were memorable and left a lasting impression on audiences. Multiple marriages amidst acting projects. Aside from movies, Lee was a familiar face on television. He appeared in several popular series like Rawhide, Maverick, The Rifleman, and Wanted, Dead or Alive. These roles often typecast him as a tough, sometimes villainous character. His convincing portrayals made him a go-to actor for such roles, ensuring steady demand for his talent. The year 1960 brought both setbacks and opportunities. Lee auditioned for The Magnificent Seven, a classic Western film. Despite his impressive body of work and growing reputation, he didn't get a role. This rejection highlighted the challenges he faced in securing major roles, even with his talent and experience. Nonetheless, Lee continued to work in television, appearing in the series Highway Patrol, further strengthening his presence on the small screen. His persistence in taking these roles showed his dedication and hard work in maintaining his career. In 1961, Lee appeared in Posse from Hell, a Western film starring Audie Murphy. He played a minor role as Leo. This film was part of his ongoing trend of appearing in Westerns, further cementing his reputation in the genre. Lee also appeared in the crime drama series The Untouchables. These roles showcased his versatility, proving he could handle different types of characters beyond the usual Western villain. His work in The Untouchables added to his growing body of work and reinforced his reputation as a skilled character actor. One of Lee's notable roles came in 1962 in The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, directed by John Ford. This film starred John Wayne and James Stewart. Lee played Reese, a memorable supporting role that contributed to the film's critical success. His performance in The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance showed his ability to bring authenticity and intensity to his roles. This further cemented his reputation as a reliable character actor, capable of delivering strong supporting performances. In 1963, Lee expanded his television work with appearances in Lawman and multiple episodes of Have Gun, Will Travel. These roles kept him in the public eye and showcased his consistent ability to portray tough, menacing characters. His recurring presence in TV westerns maintained his visibility in the entertainment industry and provided a steady stream of work. Lee's performances were well received, and his dedication to his craft was evident in the quality of his work. Lee showed his versatility as an actor by guest starring in an episode of The Andy Griffith Show in 1965. This appearance demonstrated his ability to take on roles outside of the Western genre, highlighting his range as an actor. His performance in The Andy Griffith Show was a departure from his usual tough guy roles, showcasing a different side of his acting ability. This versatility broadened his appeal and demonstrated his capability to take on a variety of characters. These roles were consistent with his established persona as a tough, often villainous character. His ability to bring authenticity and intensity to these roles made him a favorite for casting directors looking for reliable character actors in westerns. A significant turning point in Lee's career came in the same year with his role in For a Few Dollars More, a spaghetti western directed by Sergio Leone. This film starred Clint Eastwood and featured Lee as Colonel Douglas Mortimer, a role that showcased his talent and brought him international recognition. Lee's performance in For a Few Dollars More was critically acclaimed, and the film's success opened new opportunities for him in the genre. His portrayal of Colonel Mortimer was powerful and nuanced, demonstrating his ability to take on more substantial roles and making him a notable figure in spaghetti westerns. During this period, Lee's personal life saw significant changes. He and his first wife, Patsy Ruth Cayley, divorced in 1960 after 17 years of marriage. This personal setback coincided with a period of professional uncertainty as Lee struggled to find substantial roles in Hollywood. The divorce and career challenges likely contributed to a period of introspection and change. In the same year, Lee remarried Joan Marjorie Drain. However, their marriage was also short-lived, and they divorced in 1974. The pressures of Hollywood and his rigorous work schedule may have contributed to the strain on his personal relationships. The spaghetti western genre. In 1966, Lee Van Cleef starred in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, directed by Sergio Leone. He played Angel Eyes, a cold and calculating villain. This role, alongside Clint Eastwood and Eli Wallach, became one of Lee's most well-known performances. The film's success boosted his reputation and brought him international fame. That same year, he starred in The Big Gun Down, portraying Jonathan Corbett, a bounty hunter. This spaghetti western, directed by Sergio Solima, became a genre classic, and Lee's performance received widespread praise. In 1967, Lee built on his spaghetti western success with Death Rides a Horse, directed by Giulio Petroni. He played Ryan, an outlaw out for revenge. His role as a mentor to John Philip Law's character added depth to his on-screen persona. Lee also starred in Day of Anger, directed by Tonino Valeri, as Talby, a gunslinger who takes a young man under his wing. These roles further showcased Lee's ability to play complex characters in Western settings. In 1968, Lee's career included notable films like The Ruthless Four. This film added another significant performance to his spaghetti Western portfolio. He also appeared in Commandos, a war film directed by Armando Crispino playing Sergeant Sullivan. Although not as well known as his Westerns, it showed his versatility as an actor. In 1969, Lee starred in Sabata, directed by Gianfranco Parolini. He played the title character, a drifter and bounty hunter uncovering a conspiracy. The film's commercial success led to sequels, though Lee did not star in them. He also appeared in The Grand Duel, portraying Sheriff Clayton. Directed by Giancarlo Santi, this film reinforced his status as a leading figure in the spaghetti western genre. Lee's career continued to thrive in the 1970s. In 1970, he starred in Barquero alongside Warren Oates. Directed by Gordon Douglas, Lee played Travis, a ferryman defending his town from bandits. This film highlighted his continued relevance in both American and Italian westerns. He also appeared in El Condor, directed by John Guillermin, playing Jaru, a convict teaming up with Jim Brown's character to find hidden treasure. This film blended action and adventure with the western genre. In 1971, Lee took on diverse roles, such as Captain Apache, a mix of western and detective story elements directed by Alexander Singer. He played the title character, a Native American Army officer investigating a murder. Additionally, he starred in Bad Man's River, a western comedy directed by Eugenio Martin. Lee played Roy King, a bank robber, showing his ability to handle lighthearted and comedic roles within the western genre. In the same year, Lee reprised his role as Sabata in Return of Sabata, directed by Gianfranco Parolini. The film continued the adventures of the cunning and resourceful bounty hunter. In 1972, he starred in The Magnificent Seven Ride, taking on the role of Chris Adams, a character previously portrayed by Yul Brynner and George Kennedy. Directed by George McCowan, this film was part of the Magnificent Seven series, highlighting Lee's continued prominence in Western films. During this time, Lee's personal life faced significant challenges. His second marriage to Joan Marjorie Drain, which began in 1960, ended in divorce in 1974. The strains of this relationship were present throughout these years. Despite his busy career, Lee managed to avoid major controversies or scandals. His dedication to his craft and his ability to balance his personal and professional life contributed to his enduring legacy. In 1973, Lee showed his versatility as an actor by starring in Mean Frank and Crazy Tony, also known as Frank E. Tony. This Italian crime film featured Lee as Frank Diomede, a gangster. This role marked a departure from his typical Western characters, showing his ability to adapt to different genres. In 1974, he appeared in The Stranger and the Gunfighter, directed by Antonio Margheriti. This film combined Western and martial arts elements, with Lee playing Dakota, a gunfighter teaming up with a martial artist to find hidden treasure. This unique blend of genres highlighted Lee's adaptability while keeping his Western roots intact. In 1975, Lee Van Cleef kept his strong connection to Western films. He starred in Take a Hard Ride, directed by Antonio Margheriti, playing Kiefer, a bounty hunter. This film, which also featured Jim Brown and Fred Williamson, mixed Western and blaxploitation elements. Lee's role as the villain received positive reviews. Although The Magnificent Seven Ride was released in 1972, it continued to impact audiences, with Lee's portrayal of Chris Adams solidifying his enduring association with Western heroes. In 1976, Lee took on dual roles in God's Gun, directed by Gianfranco Parolini. He played Father John and his twin brother, Louis. This spaghetti western also starred Jack Palance and Richard Boone, and was notable for its unique plot and Lee's performance in two contrasting roles. In the same year, Lee continued to expand his filmography with a role in Kid Vengeance. In Kid Vengeance, he played McClane, a villain in a typical revenge-themed western, sharing the screen with Leif Garrett and Jim Brown. Lee's 1967 film, Death Rides a Horse, remained popular and influential in 1977, cementing his role as Ryan as one of his most iconic performances in the spaghetti western genre. In 1978, he also starred in The Rip-Off, also known as The Squeeze. Directed by Antonio Margheriti, this crime drama involved a plot about stolen diamonds, marking a departure from his western roles and showcasing his ability to take on diverse characters in different genres. Although Escape from New York was released in 1981, Lee began working on it in 1979. Directed by John Carpenter, This film saw Lee take on the role of Hawk, the warden of a maximum security prison. This role marked a significant departure from his Western image and showcased his ability to take on contemporary roles in different genres. Lee's television appearances during the late 1970s, including roles in shows like The Mean Machine, kept him in the public eye and demonstrated his continued relevance in the entertainment industry. During this period, Lee's personal life became more stable after the turbulence of his earlier years. In 1976, he married Barbara Havilone, which provided him with personal stability and support during his later career. This marriage marked a turning point for Lee, who had faced significant challenges in his previous relationships. Despite his continued work in film and television, Lee faced health challenges. Years of smoking and a rigorous work schedule took a toll on his health. He underwent surgery to remove a portion of his lung due to cancer, yet he continued to work despite these difficulties. His dedication to his craft and determination to keep acting, even in the face of health issues, underscored his commitment to his career. Declining health. In 1980, Lee Van Cleef played a key role in The Octagon, a martial arts action film starring Chuck Norris and directed by Eric Carson. He portrayed McCarn, a retired military man. The story was about a secret terrorist training camp, and Lee's performance added depth to the film. His portrayal was praised, showing he could take on roles outside the Western genre, further proving his versatility as an actor. In 1981, Lee appeared in Escape from New York, directed by John Carpenter. This dystopian action film became a cult classic. Lee played Police Commissioner Bob Hawke, who enlists Kurt Russell's character, Snake Plissken, to rescue the U.S. president from a New York City turned into a maximum security prison. Lee's performance was acclaimed, cementing his legacy in Hollywood. Escape from New York remains one of his most memorable non-Western roles. In 1984, Lee's television career took a turn with The Master, an NBC series where he played John Peter McAllister, an aging ninja master. The show followed McAllister and his apprentice, played by Timothy Van Patten, as they fought evil and searched for McAllister's daughter. Despite lasting only one season, the series showcased Lee's ability to take on physically demanding roles even in his later years, proving his lasting appeal and versatility. In 1985, Lee starred in Jungle Raiders, an adventure film directed by Antonio Margheriti. He played Warren. This film, part of a wave of Indiana Jones-inspired adventures, added more variety to his filmography. His role showed his ability to engage with action-adventure stories, keeping him relevant in the industry. Throughout 1985, Lee made various television appearances, including roles in TV movies and guest spots on popular shows. His varied work during this period showcased his adaptability to different formats and genres. These appearances kept him in the public eye and demonstrated his continued relevance in entertainment. Despite changes in television and film, Lee's performances remained consistent and respected. By 1986, Lee's health had declined due to heart disease and complications from lung cancer. Despite these challenges, he stayed dedicated to his craft, working on several projects until his health no longer allowed it. His resilience and dedication to acting were evident as he continued to work despite his deteriorating condition. Lee's final projects reflected his commitment to his career and his desire to contribute to the industry he loved. Sad final days. In 1986, Lee took on the role of Burt Roth in Armed Response, a low-budget action film directed by Fred Olen Ray. Playing a Vietnam veteran who clashes with a crime syndicate, Lee delivered a strong performance despite his declining health. The cast included David Carradine and Michael Berryman, adding familiar faces to the gritty storyline. By this time, Lee's health was deteriorating due to heart disease and lung cancer. Nevertheless, he remained dedicated to his craft, working through pain and fatigue. His resilience and tenacity continued to define his career. In 1989, Lee's ability to work was severely impacted by his declining health. Yet he persisted, taking on roles that reflected his tough guy persona. These final performances showcased his determination to keep working despite his physical challenges. Lee's health continued to worsen, with complications from heart disease and lung cancer. Surgery to remove part of his lung provided only temporary relief. By the end of 1989, he was mostly unable to work. On December 16, 1989, Lee passed away at 64 from a heart attack, with lung cancer and heart disease as contributing factors. He died at home in Oxnard, California, surrounded by family. His passing marked the end of an era for fans of Western films. In 1990, Thieves of Fortune was released after his death and was his final film role. It was an adventure film directed by Michael McCarthy. He played Captain Hans in a story about a quest for treasure. Lee's death was a significant loss to the film industry. He evolved from an obscure actor to a star, known for his complex, tough characters. His performances, especially in spaghetti westerns, left a lasting impact on cinema, influencing generations of filmmakers and actors.